If you're a technician, I'm sure you've seen this one before. An Oppo A15 rolls in, and it is stuck in that dreaded boot loop. Well, in this explainer, we are going to zero in on this exact issue, break down why it happens, and show you a super precise hardware fix that's going to save you a ton of time and a lot of headaches.
So picture this. The phone lands on your workbench. It's an Oppo A15, it just won't start, and it's trapped in this endless cycle of restarting. This is a really common and super frustrating fault with this model. And honestly, it can be a real head-scratcher if you don't know exactly where to look.
Now, the key symptom you need to watch for is very, very specific. The phone powers on, you see the first Oppo logo, it gets to the second logo, and then poof, it just reboots. Over and over again. This isn't some random glitch. It's a crystal clear sign of the exact problem we're about to solve.
So, here's our game plan. We're going to start by digging into the mystery of this restart issue, and then we'll talk about why the usual software fix is a total dead end. After that, we'll pinpoint the real hardware fault, walk step by step through the 2-pin jumper fix, and finally, wrap up with why this kind of specific knowledge is the real key to being an efficient tech.
Okay, let's get right into it. The restarting phone mystery. You know, what makes this so tricky is that it looks and feels exactly like a software glitch. But as we're about to see, for this Oppo A15 model, this is a classic case of a hardware fault wearing software's clothing.
And that leads us straight to the software dead end. Now, what's the first thing most of us do when a phone is stuck in a boot loop? Reflash the software, right? It's instinct. Let's talk about why that's absolutely the wrong move here.
You know, the phone we're looking at here had actually already been flashed by another technician before it even got to us. And look, it's a logical first step, it's standard procedure. But in this case, all that time and effort spent flashing the software was completely wasted, because it doesn't even touch the root of the problem.
So you're thinking it's software corruption, or maybe a bootloader error, but the actual cause? It's a hardware fault. And to be specific, it's a malfunction in the charging IC. The crucial thing to get here is that you could reflash this phone a dozen times, and you will never fix the underlying hardware issue.
All right, so if it's not the software, let's get our magnifying glass out and pinpoint the real fault. Where exactly on the motherboard is this little problem hiding? And here it is. The culprit is one single specific component, the charging IC. This little integrated circuit, the one that manages the phone's power, is the source of this entire restart headache. Honestly, just knowing this is half the battle won. But we can get even more specific. We're not talking about replacing the whole chip or anything that complicated. Nope, the fix is much more elegant. Our focus narrows right down to two tiny little connection points on that charging IC, pins 14 and 15. That is our target.
Okay, now for the main event, the 2-pin jumper fix. Let's walk through the exact step-by-step hardware solution that's going to get this phone back up and running in no time. It's actually a beautifully simple 4-step process. First, you're going to locate that charging IC on the motherboard. Second, you carefully identify pins 14 and 15. Third, and this is the magic right here, you apply a small jumper wire to connect those 2 pins together. And finally, just reassemble enough to power on the device and test your work.
And the result? Boom! Success! With that one simple jumper in place, the phone now boots completely. It just flies right past that second logo where it used to get stuck and loads straight into the operating system. Problem solved.
So all of this brings us to the real lesson here. Knowledge is key. This repair is about more than just fixing one phone model. It's a perfect case study in the power of having precise, targeted diagnostic knowledge.
This chart really says it all. Your repair efficiency when you're just kind of guessing, like trying a software flash in this case, is incredibly low. But when you operate with precise knowledge, like applying this very specific jumper fix, your success rate just shoots through the roof. It's the difference between being a good technician and a great one.
And that brings us to our final and most crucial point. With the right knowledge, you can perform the right work in the right place. So what's the real takeaway for us as technicians? Is it better to have 1,000 general procedures in your toolkit, or maybe 100 laser-focused solutions just like this one? That's the question every top-tier tech has to answer for themselves.